I'd like to show you how to create a form in the Enterprise Web. First, let's look at an example. This is a form used by CYS, and I chose it because it has two very common types of questions that you might use over and over again when you're creating your own forms. It has to do with answer types. The first name of the student is our first question, and the answer would be a text type of question. So this might be a person's name, it might be some information that they would have to type in text. That's a text type. The second question is a multiple choice. You'll use this over and over again. So you can see that when we click down the little double arrow, you can see our choices here for this question, which is who's completing this form, is parent, guardian, and student. So that's our example. I'm going to pull this over to the right-hand side and just keep it in reserve in case we need to keep it for reference. And we're ready to create a form. So this is a website that's currently in production. There's not an awful lot on it right now, but I have created a page on this website to go ahead and house the form. So let's go find that page. To find it, we use the double page icon in the upper right, the page navigation. And that opens up the sitemap for us. The sitemap is a folder that contains subfolders that house all of your pages, your calendar events, all of your promotions, all of your content is in the sitemap. The page that contains the form page is in Programs. There it is. Click it open, and let's load the page. You can see that there's not a lot on there. And I don't really want to start with just adding the form right off the bat. I've got a heading there, and the heading is okay, but I want to add a friendly message. So to be able to add any content to our web pages in the Enterprise Web, we start by clicking the plus sign in the upper left. So what you get when you open up the plus sign is you get lots and lots of choices for different types of content blocks. You won't be using all of them. One of the main ones that you'll use is the content block, which allows you to key in to add text. Let's click it, drag it into position, and drop it into place. You can see that when you're doing this, the green lines tend to thicken a bit. All right, that's a text block. Let's add some text. And it's nice, we can help you find a new sponsor and a friend before you arrive. Let's save that content block. And let's save and save often. I know that if you've been around computers for most of your life, then you know that phrase. The golden rule is save and save often. So let's save this page as a draft. In the green pencil icon, let's click that. It snaps open to our saving options. You can discard the changes if you don't like what you're doing. If you're an administrator or an approver, you could publish this page, and if you click that button, it would send it live to the web right away. But for content contributors, and if you're still working on the page, perfecting it like we are right now, we'll click Save Changes. And that saves a draft of the page. So at this point, you could get up, you could walk away, you could come back to it tomorrow and continue working on it. To be able to find it, this draft, we click the double page icon again, and you'll see the page drafts are all listed here in the middle under page drafts. You would just double click that, and you could begin working on the page again. But we've already got it up, so we don't need to do that. Now we're ready to add the form. We have our friendly message, we have our title. Let's click the plus symbol again and open up the box that has, or rather the panel that has all of our choices, and let's go find the form. There it is. Let's click it, drag it into place. Once it's in place, I let go of the mouse, and it loads. Let's select New Form. It's a little confusing at first, the first time you create a form, because it's not asking you right off the bat for the question itself. It's asking you for the type of question you're asking. So the answer type. If you remember, in the demo that we looked at earlier, the first question was one where you would key in some text. So our choice here is going to be, answer type is going to be text. We click open the drop down, we select text, and now we can add the question. Placeholder text is something that I wanted to cover, and let's go ahead and do that now. We're talking about a form that has to do with young people, minors, and so we probably do not want to We probably want to caution people against putting the child's entire name, the full name, on this form. So let's put a placeholder in, and I'll show you where that's going to appear in a few minutes. The placeholder text goes into the into the field where somebody's typing in their answer, and it might be just a message to help explain what the question is about or to ask some specifics. In this case, our specific would be first name only. Again, because these are minors and we only want the first name of the child. Name of the student, first name only. And this is a required field, so let's click yes. It's a required question. Now at this point it's very tempting, especially if you can't see that add button. If you're filling in longer questions with multiple choice, you'll see that in a minute. But sometimes that add question will get buried. If you click the word add right now, it would save the form as a draft and it would take you out of the editing mode. So instead we want to add a new question, so let's click add question. So it's been added successfully and we're ready to add a new question. The second one, remember, was a multiple choice. And our two choices were who's completing this form is the question. Our multiple choice answers are parent, guardian, and student. In this one, in Enterprise Web Speak, the answer type, come on you, the answer type is going to be not multiple choice, the answer type is select. So multiple choice is select. And let's ask the question, who's completing this form? And now we can add our choices. Choices are values. I'm not going to cover every topic in here, so let's just skip over some of those options up there. Otherwise, we'd be here all day. Choices are values. The first value, remember, was parent or guardian. We'll add that. And then we have to put in another choice, which was student. And we'll add that one. So we have two choices for our question, who's completing this form? Parent, guardian, or student. We'll make this a required field. We don't want to do add just yet. Let's go ahead and add question because we might want to continue on. Let's take a look at the edit button because it's interesting right now. You'll see that the questions that we've added are here in the edit, and you can do some editing right here. You can send a question to the trash if you want. You can go back into the question and edit it. You can move them around if you like. So that's an interesting panel to know about. Now let's click the form. Let's go ahead and click add and save the draft because I wanted to show you the placeholder text. Do you remember in fact, let me go ahead and save the draft. Let me save the changes and get it out of editing mode so we can see how this works and get rid of that annoying box. If you remember, we've got, for the first question, we've got the name of the student. It's a required field. And the placeholder text, you can see how that works. It says first name only. And over that, we can type Susie's name. Who's completing this form is our multiple choice. That was the select. And you can see we've got our choices here. So I'm not going to continue with all of those questions because I think you've got the idea right now. But now what we'll do is go back in and finish up the form. Let's go back up to the pencil icon. When the green light is on, then we can put the cursor into the block. We'll edit the block. And it takes us back to the editing panel. So we've already added our questions. We've looked at the editing panel. We're going to ignore results for right now. And let's click the options. Options is the last thing that we have to do before we finish up the form. Now when I named the page, I named it Fort Huachuca CYS Teen Form Demo. I don't want the word demo on here. Let me get rid of the word demo. So you can edit that. Page name. The button will say submit. You could say press if you wanted to. You could edit that message. And the message to display once somebody has submitted the form says thanks right now, but I think what I'd like to do is just add a little bit more information because people are asking for information. They're asking for some sponsorship information for their child. So this one says the message to display when completed will be thanks for submitting the form. We'll be in touch soon. The email submission panel, the email submission field has a mechanism in it that hides your email address from public view, so you can feel very confident when you're adding your email addresses, whether it's your NAF or your civilian email address or even your personal if you absolutely had to. You can feel confident that it won't be caught by spams or bots. And finally, let's click yes to the CAPTCHA. CAPTCHA, you've probably seen this before, but this is also a protection against spams and bots. If you wanted to choose a page so that after somebody submitted the form, they would automatically be taken back to the CYS page or any page of your choosing, you could choose a page there. But we don't want to do that right now. In the interest of time, let's go ahead and click Save. And we finish with our form. Let me take it out. Let's test the form now. Let's go ahead and save the changes. And we can test the form. First name only, Susie. Very good. We'll say that Susie's mom is filling this out. And finally, I'm not a robot. No, I'm not. All right, so here it gives you a puzzle. No computer can solve these puzzles. Only humans can. Select all squares with street signs. Let's hope it's an easy test and I get it right. And we'll do it again. It really wants to be sure. Select all squares with street signs. We'll do it again. Verify. And we apparently got it right. So let's go ahead and click Submit. And the form has been submitted. And that message that we added, thanks for submitting the form, we'll be in touch soon, appears. And we've completed our form. Thanks for watching.